All right, so let's go ahead and create or basically populate our history view controller. So what we're going to do here is first of all, we're going to create a private static let a reuse ID for our table views. Okay, and then we're going to create our UI elements. So let me actually create a snippet for this, and that'll actually show you how I have created this snippet for Mark as well. So I'm just simply gonna select the text I want to convert it into a snippet, and I'm gonna right click, basically create snippet, and I'm gonna call this one PLV just for the initializer private lazy var. Okay, and I'm gonna save that. All right, now if I say PLV, let's see. Okay, so there's our code snippet. Now we can delete this one, and for this one there's no completion, so let's edit this, and we're gonna call this PLV private lazy var. Okay, call it done, and now let's try it. PLV, there we go, private lazy var. All right, so you're gonna have top label first, UI label. We're gonna set all the properties for our top label. Okay, and then we're gonna have our table view. So PLVP, there you go, private lazy var, table view, UI, table view. We're gonna set the selection to false for now. We're gonna set ourselves for delegate and data source. We're also gonna register a cell class, and let's set it to UI table view cell dot self for now, with the self dot reuse ID. Okay, and we're gonna come back and change that when we create our table view cell. Background color, we're gonna set it to clear, and for the separator inset, we're gonna say UI edge insets, and we're gonna say it's gonna be 0 0 0 0. So separator is not indented, and for the separator color, we're gonna say it's gonna be the white color. Okay, all right. View life cycle, setup views, setup constraints, And all right, we're gonna basically add our label. So add subview top label, and we dot add subview our table view. Okay, we're gonna add those two, and we're gonna set the constraint for top label. We're gonna set the height equal to constant and 50. Okay, next is basically our table view constraints. So table view dot leading anchor dot constraints equal to view dot leading anchor. Okay, all right, so now we have all the constraints set up. We want to create our extensions, and we're gonna have basically extension. So extension to our history view controller, which is gonna be conforming to UI table view delegate and UI table view data source. Okay, and we're gonna have number of rows in section, and we're gonna return maybe 10 here. Okay, and cell for row at index path, return UI table view cell for now. Right, and we also wanna estimated height for row at, and we want to return UI table view dot automatic dimension. All right, okay, so these are all the extensions, and now if you build, there should not be any error, but what we want is basically to have our cell created. The cell is basically right now we are using UI table view cell, but that's not gonna cut for us because we need our own custom cell. So we're gonna create a new view here, and this we're gonna select a Swift file. I'm gonna name this history table view cell. Okay, and import from UIKit. All right, we're gonna create final class history table view cell, UI table view cell. All right, then we're gonna have some properties that are gonna basically set our internal UI components. So let me first create the UI components. Right, so total miles, label. This is going to be a UI label. Text is going to be 0.0. text color is going to be white, and font is going to be UI font dot bold for system size 24. Okay, then we're going to have another one, total time label. All right, text needs to be in a string. Once again, v dot text color is going to be the white color for this label, and font is gonna be v dot font dot width size 18. Right, so that's gonna be our total time label. Then we're gonna have an entry date, so basically entry date, date on which the run was recorded. We're gonna have that. Okay, so all right, and I'm gonna actually copy these things because they are going to be exactly same. All right, okay. Now on to our properties. The setter properties, the properties that are gonna basically be set to basically populate these labels. Okay, so external props. Okay, and we're gonna create a variable total miles. Okay, it's gonna be of type double. Default value is gonna be 0.0, and we're gonna put did set observer into that. Whenever this is set, you're gonna say total miles label dot text is equal to string format 0.1 f percent 0.1 f, and then total miles. All right, and we're also gonna call layout if needed, because our text is going to change. Okay, total time is going to be a string, which is going to have default value 0 to, I'm just going to put something in there. I mean, we're going to have like actual values like very soon, but these are just placeholders. So we're going to put did set total time label dot text is equal to total time layout if needed. Okay, and the entry date is going to be a string. There we go. Okay, so these are going to be all the external properties that we can set. Okay, now we need a like an initializer. All right, so we're gonna say first we're gonna call super.initializer, pass the style and the reuse identifier, and we're gonna call setup views here. Okay, and the setup constraints is going to be called in layout subviews, layout subviews override function. Right, so we are going to create this required initializer, and then we're going to create our private function for setup views, and this is going to first of all set the background color to be UI color dot black dot with alpha component 0.1. Okay, so slightly tinted, and then we're gonna say content view dot add subview total miles label, content view dot add subviews total time label, and content view dot add subviews entry date label. Okay, now we're gonna create our function for setup constraints. So private func setup constraints. Okay, and this guy is going to first lay out the total miles label. So we're going to have only two constraints in this. Leading anchor is going to be to content view dot leading anchor with constant of 16 and total miles label dot trail top anchor dot constraint is equal to content view dot top anchor constant is going to be 16. Okay, then next comes our total time label. All right, so this one is going to be total time label dot leading. So leading anchor dot constraint is equal to content view dot leading anchor constant is going to be 16, and total time label dot trailing dot top anchor is going to be constrained to total miles label dot bottom. Okay, and you can have constant of 8. Okay, so there's a gap between those two, and then total time label dot bottom anchor is going to be constrained to content view dot bottom anchor with constant of -16. Okay, and then we can have our entry date label. Once again, in this layout constraint, activate entry date label dot trailing. So basically this is going to be located at the trailing end. So trailing anchor dot constraint equal to content view dot trailing anchor constant is going to be -16, and entry date label dot center y anchor dot constraint equal to total miles label dot center y anchor. Okay, now this guy is not going to be called from initializer, because remember we have our layout being driven from auto layout. So what we're going to do is we're going to call layout subviews. We're going to call super.layout subviews. Okay, and then that's where we're going to call our setup constraints to make sure all the constraints are set up properly. Okay, it doesn't hurt to call it here as well. Okay, all right, so that's our history table view cell. Now let's go back to our history view controller, and instead of this we're gonna call history table cell, like so. Okay, so history table view cell dot self. Now when we were setting the cell at the bottom right here, we are actually simply returning UI table view cell. So now we can actually put a guard statement, guard let cell is equal to table view dot dq reusable identifier self dot reuse id. Okay, that's what we have registered, and we're gonna say try to cast this as history table view cell. Okay, if you can, that's great. Otherwise, return UI table view cell. Okay, now we actually are getting the total miles. So we're gonna simply take our index path dot row and convert that into double. That'll give us, like, just total miles, just some placeholder data that we can actually put, so we can see our labels. Entry date is okay, and return cell. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and launch this, and what we should see is basically a table view with all the details, like, that we have. So 0, 1, 2, 3, these are our indexes, these are our times, and these are our dates. Okay, all right, so that brings us to the end of this whole run tracking and run logging UI screen. Now, next part is going to be about Realm and how to store this data into Realm database and then retrieve that to display it here. Okay, so we're going to be making some modifications and into the project, and we're going to be also introducing new dependencies using CocoaPod. All right,